Hey folks, how's it going? The Yoimiya's trial came available yesterday and I only really played it a few times. Kind of wanted to record my first impressions on it, but to be honest, they really weren't that good. So, Yoimiya's elemental skill converts her normal attack into blazing arrows that deal pyro damage. Her elemental burst deals AoE pyro damage and applies the Aurus Blaze to one of the hit opponents. When an opponent under the influence of the Aurus Blades are hit by most attacks from other party members, an explosion occurs, dealing AoE pyro damage. So, first thing first, she looks cute as fucking hell. I am not going to dispute that, and I am not going to let anyone say otherwise. Her attack animations actually look pretty good, and the fact that she's got Kana Ueda's voice actress really elevates the character. Look at her! Fucking look at her, that is so freaking cute. I wanted her to be good, man. I really wanted her to be good. In terms of stats, she's sitting on 2k attack, maybe a little bit much elemental mastery, she won't really make use of this too much. 40% crit rate, 214% crit damage, that is actually pretty freaking high. 135 energy recharge and 46% pyro damage bonus, so she's got that pyro goblet. Weapon-wise, of course, she gets showcased with a Refinement 1 Thundering Pulse. Other than 60% crit damage, it also grants a 20% boost to attack and increases the normal attack damage up to 40% if you can upkeep the emblems. One you get when you do normal attack damage, one you get when you use an elemental skill, but only for 10 seconds and her cooldown is 18. And another one when you've got less than 100% energy. To help with this, they gave her the Shimenawa's Reminiscence set. It comes with an extra 18% attack, and it makes her lose 15 energy and increase her normal attack damage by 50% for 10 seconds. So basically we've got a good 10 seconds window to deal damage with her normal attacks before she has to do her Q and swap out. Of course, she's C0. In terms of skills, the normal attack is mostly just going to be used for the 5-hit chain. The charge attack, while it does something unique, really doesn't do damage. It's 26% damage per arrow up to a less than 100% total. Her E increases her normal attack damage to 155%. But only lasts 10 seconds and it's going to have an 8 seconds downtime. That is an absolute killer. Her Q inflicts 200% skill damage on cast, and her explosion inflicts 195% damage per hit. This trigger once every 2 seconds, dealing AoE pyro damage of course, but they only last for 10 seconds and it has a 15 seconds cooldown. Her first talent is going to increase her pyro damage bonus by 2% up to a maximum of 10 stacks, and when you swap out and you use her Q, that is going to buff all allies attack by 10% with an extra 1% for each stack of the other passive that you managed to save. This goes up to 10 and it lasts for 3 seconds, so at the bare minimum you want to do 10 attacks, then swap for Q. The weird thing in here is that they gave you a Zhangling. 300 elemental mastery is fairly low too, 1.4k attack is also fairly low, and she's got very low crit rate and damage. Despite that, it still feels like Zhangling is the main DPS in this situation. She doesn't even have a Crimson Witch set, she's got a Noblesse up here. So here's what happens. Even though overloads could be useful, they do send enemies flying away, so some arrows are bound to miss their targets. Once you got everything nice and charged up, oh, her E is already out. You use her Q and you swap. That explode. There we go. The damage is still really not good though. It's like 8k damage is really low. And she's carrying her signature 5-star weapon too. There are some pretty big melts every now and then, but that's really not it. Right, also when you play with her, since she's a single target damage dealer, you're going to have to deal with the auto-aim. So if I wanted to hit just the big slime, yeah, that's not happening, unless it's right in front of me. Right, in terms of damage, once she gets her stacks up, it's not as bad. 11k to 14k damage on level 80 and level 8 talents is kind of in line with other DPS characters. And I guess she can still keep the field if you have off-field damage dealing characters, like, well, Xiangling. Oh, and the second hit from Guoba didn't proc it. Takes 2 attacks from Guoba to proc it once. Yeah, that's another bit of an issue. Yeah, the 40% crit rate is really not doing her any favors. And the highest damage you see in here is a 37k melt on the Cryo Slime. Oh right, her charge shots, these really do nothing. It's actually not that bad since her kit doesn't really revolve around charge shots, but still. This could have been her one source of AoE and it's really doing nothing. Not only that, if you use her E, you can't even do them anymore. So she's an auto attacker, but that single target damage just kills her. So really the only places in which she could shine would be like 40 resin bosses, weekly bosses, and maybe abyss floors that only have one enemy in it, but good luck finding those. The only one we have this rotation is the Magukanki, and the Magukanki has ranged damage prevention, so she's also going to get screwed up in there. I don't know, I do think the 8 seconds downtime on her E is really exaggerated. It should have been like a 4 to 5 seconds tops, because all you really want to do is swap out, use a couple of off-field DPS characters and then swap back in. 8 seconds cooldown is far too much. I know she's got a constellation that sort of helps with that, but if she's this bad at Constellation 0, that is really disappointing, and I don't think people are going to go for high constellations just to try and cope with how bad she is. So, what do you do with her? To be honest, she's too cute not to pull for, and if I had any spare roll, I would be throwing it away. In terms of actual team comps though, yeah, Mona could be one. Maybe could help with vaporizes, even though I'm afraid about the internal cooldown on her arrows. If she is going to be the actual aura character, even Mona is not really going to do much. Xiangling is still going to be decent, if anything, for both Guoba and her Q. Just like we saw in the test, she can proc the explosions from off-field. And like her, Fischl, and other off-field damage dealing characters like Beidou, maybe Lisa, even though, yeah, those are Electro. Since Raiden does something very similar to Jinshu, except AoE, but that is still going to be an overload reaction. And against small enemies, yeah, that's going to send everything flying around. I don't think we have enough cryo applications to melt her normal attack shots, We might have enough to melt her burst explosions though. So that could be a bit of a damage boost for her. But no, stats-wise she already starts with decent ones. Also that over 200% crit damage is really freaking high, especially in these sort of tests. We don't really see that often. Yeah, 21 crit rate, 104% crit damage. Less than 5% crit rate on each piece. That's kind of bad, to be honest. But she's got plenty of crit damage. Why did they even do this? If you can give her any stat you want, why would you settle for 4% crit rate per piece? This makes no sense. There is one good rolling crit rate for each artifact, and these are all plus 20. They're not doing the plus 18 like they were before. Yeah, crit damage is like 20% per piece, with the exception of the last one. This one has to be to 62% crit damage. Take 62 away, you're left with 40% crit damage. That is still less than 10% crit damage per piece, so why are the artifacts on her so bad? So that's one good roll on crit rate. There's two sort of bad rolls of crit damage on each piece, except for, of course, the circlet. There's two rolls of energy recharge. Where the hell are the other stats? 100 elemental mastery, that's 20 per piece. It's still only one roll, it could be baseline, so did they just stack attack on her artifacts? And wait, what does she even awaken into? We can't see it from here, can we? Okay, time to go on the wiki. Oh, she awakens into crit rate too. Then why is it 40%? Dude, she's got 20% crit rate from awakening and only 20% from the artifacts. Why? You gave her a crit damage weapon, just put a crit rate circlet on her. You know, that could have helped. Also, I'm really not sold on this Shimenawa. I mean, the 15 energy loss kind of helps when it comes to her weapon, the Thundering Pulse, because you don't want your energy to be full, otherwise you lose one stack. And your normal attack damage drops from 40 to 24%, so you do lose a sizable damage boost from there. But still, if you couldn't afford a Thundering Pulse, you would be kind of stuck on a Rust. And if you're stuck on a Rust without that much energy recharge, I think that, yeah, at that point you would much rather go for either a full Crimson Witch set, if she is the one that can proc the reactions, or just a 2-piece Crimson and a 2-piece attack. Because if you want to compare sets and weapons, the Thundering Pulse at Refinement 1 plus Shimenawa only goes up to a 90% boost to normal attack damage, and that boost is limited to the 10 seconds duration over E, plus maintaining all 3 stacks on her weapon. On the other hand, the Rust goes up to 80% normal attack damage, and a Crimson Witch, even just a 2-piece, adds a 15% to that, so that's 95% bonus to her normal attack damage. And it has no conditions. That is always going to be up regardless of energy management, regardless of stacks or whatever. God, are they doing her dirty? Are they really doing her this dirty? That was a 2k non-crit explosion. You want to showcase one of your characters to make people excited and pull for her, and then that character does a 2k non-crit explosion on her burst. Like, come the fuck on. Yeah, this trial does anything but makes you want to pull for her. And again, she might be good for a Lino. It's just that this trial really doesn't show it. And she does one good hit at the end of her chain. That's pretty much it. That is all I'm seeing. That one good hit at the end of the chain. Because otherwise, she might as well be off field. Because when she's on field, she's not doing as much damage as you want her to, and she's dealing just single target damage with all the issues that brings. And when she is off field, you have to pray that her burst lands on a close by character, close by enemy, and its explosion are going to deal damage to as many other enemies as possible. Because if her burst lands far, or if you overload the character her burst is on and that character flies off in an unwanted direction, then yeah, her damage is going to be null for the 10 seconds of her burst, so... I'm sorry, I'm really, really sorry. She's too cute not to pull for it, and I love her voice actress, so this really freaking hurts. I think that might be cause for a rebalance, hopefully, like what they did for Zhongli, but Zhongli is kind of the Archon and he represented China, so all the people getting mad had a bit more of a reason other than, come on, she's cute, buff her. So it turns out that she really is the Ember of the 5 stars. Well, I'm just going to go roll into a ball and cry in a corner. As always, thanks a lot for watching and see you around soon. Ciao!